Hello, this is Ray again, and by popular request I'm back in the field and I'm going to do a comparison of the Sigma 120, now 150 to 600. People have been requesting that, but what I'm going to do is a little bit different. I'm going to do a little battle of the Sigmas. I have here the 150-600 on my Nikon D810. I have also put up the 120-300 on my Canon 5D Mark III and the Sigmonster, the 300-600, 300 to 800 on my Canon 60. We have a lovely winter, autumn, cold day today, and we have some ducks, and we're going to try and get some shots. And in addition, I will try on the 120-300. I will use both the Sigma and the Canon teleconverters to see how they act. Okay, please enjoy. Post. Shooting handheld with the 150-600 with the Nikon is actually no problem. It's very well balanced, and I can actually hold it with one hand. I wouldn't recommend it, but it's not the brightest of days. I will put out the images in full resolution, but as you can see, there's absolutely no problem handholding it and shooting it like this. So, okay, now it's onward to the next one. This is the next test. This is the Sigma 120-300, which I bought earlier this year. This is a twice the amount of money that lens is cost than the 150-600. This is a 2.8 all the way through. But I will now try to do some tests at 120, 200 and 300 millimeters, and then afterwards I will try two different teleconverters and see how they perform. I will put out the images afterwards. Now I will do a test from, now I will put on the Sigma official 2x teleconverter, the APO EX-DG, and I will see how it performs up to 600 millimeters or not. Okay, as see, as expected, it's a nice fit. The nice thing about this is that, of course, as you know, the teleconverter adds two f-stops. So this is now 5.0 or 6. The 5.6 I mean. And in theory, this should actually be the same equivalent as the 150-600. Or actually a 240-600 lens, so it should perform in theory as the 150-600 that we tested on the Nikon, and I'm very interested in looking at how the result is. So I'm now pulling it up to, now it's on 300 millimeter, that will be 600 millimeters, and I'm wondering how this will perform. The autofocus is fine. The images looks, I will put out the high-res images. The images looks decent, absolutely. Ducks who are swimming in water isn't the fastest moving subject, so I can't make that much of a notion about the autofocus, but it seems to me that it's working fine. Let me just make it a little bit unsharp. Yeah, it's decent performing. It isn't the fastest, but I don't expect that. It isn't the fastest autofocusing lens in itself. Okay. For the next thing now, I will change the Sigma official teleconverter to the Canon teleconverter, which is now compatible with this lens. I will try that next. Okay. Okay. So as you can see here, now I put on the Canon 2x extender teleconverter, and I'm very interested in seeing if it's in any kind of image quality differences between using this lens with the Canon or the Sigma teleconverter. So I'll do a couple of test shots and I will shoot them wide open at 600 equivalent millimeters. What I can see is that it delivers nice performance. Let me do the same test as I did with the other teleconverter and just test the autofocus. I would say that the result is, from my point of view, just standing here doing some shots, I would say that they act approximately as fast as each other, so it doesn't have that big a difference. Which is kind of surprisingly, comparing that the Canon teleconverter is a lot more expensive than the Sigma. But of course you can't use the Sigma on Canon gear, but you can, but as you can see, you can use Canon gear on Sigma. Okay, this is the last one. This is of course my favorite lens of it all. It's a specialty lens. This is the Sigmonster, the magnificent 300 to 800 millimeters. Why I've done it into this test is I want to test it at 300 millimeters, I want to test it at 600 millimeters, and I want to just show how sharp it is at 800 wide open. So first let me do these shots, but like I just mentioned a little bit, this is very huge. The lens itself weighs approximately 6 kilos. I have put some camo on it, as you can see, so it probably weighs around 6 kilos itself. With the body, it weighs maybe like 7.5 kilos, something like that. And you have to have a gimbal head. And for those of you who don't familiar with the gimbal head, that is actually your vertical mount tripod mount on it, and you can change in that direction and in that direction. And that is, it makes a very stable platform, but the problem is, of course, you have to plan a little bit to be able to shoot it. Okay, so let me do some test shots and I will put them out and let's see how it performs. First, let me try on 300 millimeters. From what you can see, it looks crisp and nice. I'm sorry, I did a little mistake. I took it the other way. That's one of the problems actually with the camouflage. When you put the camouflage on, it actually covers a little bit what number you have it. So I had it the other way, so I was actually shooting first on 800, but okay. Let's do it again. Now I shot on 300 millimeters. The image just looks nice. Let me shoot on 600. It looks nice. Remember, all three cameras I've tested the Sigma lenses on are full frame, so they should be comparable. The major difference is, of course, that the 60 have a little less sensor, which I'm using this on, than the 5D, and of course the D810 has a almost twice as large sensor as the two others. Now I'm at 600 millimeters, yes. Let me just test the autofocus a little bit on 600. I would actually say that the autofocus is... There came some birds in for landing. I hopefully got some nice shots of that. I will actually say that the autofocus on this one is actually faster than the 120-300. Maybe the same as the 150-500. Okay. Close to a road, so that makes a little sound. Now I put it up on 800 millimeters, and it isn't that easy to see. I'll put out full resolution pictures afterwards, but it performs very, very nice. Okay, now I've done a little change here. I put on the 2x teleconverter from Sigma, which is compatible with this, the Sigmonster, the big lens, and this is just for a little extra treat. I'm giving you an image at 1600 millimeters. The big problem with this is, of course, that the lowest f-stop you get on this is f11, so you get a kind of flat image. That's decent, but probably if you're using this lens, you're using it for wildlife, and you need to get close. And of course, to my knowledge, either Nikons or Canons or anything manages, even not the D4S or the 1DX, manages to get autofocus over f9. So it's manual focus, and I have tried to set up here a little shot as sharp as I can see it through the viewfinder. But of course, on a moving subject, actually quite far away, on 1600mm, it's like poking something on the moon with a needle. It isn't all that easy. So it was just a small little test just to see if it works. I wouldn't recommend that, at least I'm not that used to manual focusing, but I will put out the image and you can judge for yourself. It's just less of a technical test, more of a practicality test, and I don't think it's all that practical. Okay, thank you. Okay, it's time to conclude, and I've done some field testing, you can see today, and I will try to give some conclusions. And if we look at the first, I have added some sample images, and the first sample image is the Sigma 120-300, which I had set up my Canon 5D Mark III, and it was mounted on tripod, and I think it gives an excellent contrast, and it's a very, very nice image in itself. I will add all the high-res images in my blog post at explorer.com, so you can see and download them there if you want to. The next image is the same lens with the 2x teleconverter from Canon. You might add for yourself, it has a little bit to do with the lighting and so on, but if you look at the next image, which is with the Sigma 2x teleconverter, I would say that the overall, it seems like the Canon teleconverter converts lights a little bit better on the Sigma than the Sigma converter does. And you can look at the images and make your opinion up yourself, but that's just my comparison. The next image is from the magnificent D800, D810 I mean. It's on 300mm. I haven't done anything special with it, I've just added it to Lightroom. All the images have just been through Lightroom, and I've added for the profile correction in Lightroom for the lens, nothing more than that. You can look at the contrast, it has a high contrast image. The next image is at 600mm. I've tried to test everything on 300 and 600mm. So you can see the same thing there. I think the Canon or the Nikon gives spectacular results, and I think maybe Nikon is a tad better on the color side than, sorry, the Nikon is a little bit better on the color side than the Canon. Okay. The next image, it's with my Sigmonster. I mounted it on my Canon 6D. First you see it at 300mm. It's a nice group shot, it's clear as day, this is made for wildlife. And the next is at 600mm. It's tad sharp. It gives excellent results, and I can really recommend this lens for wildlife shooters if you are out there. The last image is just a bonus. This is a manual focus at 16mm. I added the teleconverter 2 times. I think I got a decent result. I haven't looked all that much on it at full res, but you can download the image and you can see for yourself. But like I mentioned, manual resolution and wildlife, manual focus and wildlife might not be the best combination. So
this was my conclusions, and I hope that you like what I do. If you like, please comment, please give me input. I'm new to this, and like I mentioned, I will put in a link in the below in the YouTube, in the commentary field. I will put down a link where you can download all the images in original high-res solution, and you can look at it yourself. Okay, take care and have an excellent day. This is Ray from ExploreRay.com.